Brings back a familiar nose to me. You getting anything from it?
Yeah, heartburn.
I think I'm getting like a malort almost. It's like a.
Welcome back to Arsenic Culture. I'm Matt.
I'm Jason.
We are back, and it has been a hell of a time getting this episode recorded and put on the air. We have had a litany of issues, mainly stemming around our audio recording device. I'm over here looking at it out of the corner of my eye.
It's probably working. Maybe.
It's probably working. Or everybody listening or watching will not see any of this because it's not working. But yeah, we have. This is the 5th episode we have recorded.
We've lost a few to the ether.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Seriously, we've lost 4 episodes, everybody, and it's all because of audio issues. And every time I think I fix it, something new happens. But I'm and if you're watching, I'm just gonna look out. I'm gonna side eye this thing the entire episode. I'm just gonna stare.
Won't be making eye contact the entire episode.
I'm gonna be completely distracted. But this is actually a really fun episode. We're pivoting slightly. Arsenic Culture has been around since 2020. 2020. This was a COVID project.
Yes, sir.
Me, you, and Jeff actually back in the day.
Started at the end of 2020.
We were just handing COVID off back in between each other.
We were.
Getting within 6 feet. And but I mean, it's just like, people weren't working. People didn't have shit to do. We're like,
Had
you know
less
what?
free time.
Let's get back into it. And we wanted to do shit. So we started this. And it was really for fun. And now in 2024, we finally decided to take it seriously.
A little more seriously.
Yeah. We've always had fun with it, and we still will, but it's like our release schedules were just kind of whenever we felt like it. They started to follow like a bi-weekly release, but if you're serious about it, everybody's doing like weekly. And we just haven't done that because we haven't dedicated time to it, but we're going to start doing that.
We can do it.
But yeah, we're going to have a little more fun with what we do too. Just, maybe not nail in the nuances so much, but just honestly just drink a bunch of stuff on the air.
A little more talking.
Yeah, right. But we actually got a new name, which I'm really excited about. It's not that new. So we were Arsenic Culture before, and it was a play on words like arsenic culture, like the poison. And I was just thinking, you know what? If we're going to be serious about this, and we're having to like put our name out there.
Let's make it about poison.
Let's make it about poison because everybody loves poison, right? Well, just like this, the whole thing was like too confusing. It was just like, it was supposed to be punny, and it's like clever, but it was fucking too clever, I guess. It was like, people are going to be like, is it supposed to be arsenical culture?
I have had people ask me about it in the past, but we've changed our name on some of the social medias already.
Yep.
We haven't put the new logo up.
Nope.
We will be doing that this week before this episode.
Yeah.
We have it. We like it.
Yeah.
It's coming out probably Wednesday, and I think we'll probably drop this one on Friday. So you'll get to see it.
Hell yeah, yeah. And we're going to be trying to release every Friday. Keep your fingers crossed. Like an actual podcast / web show. I don't know what you call it when you do like the cameras and stuff.
I went back and forth with that. So I think I still call it a podcast because it's taped, right? It's not.
Right.
It's not live.
Recorded. You're right.
Or
You're
live.
Right. Do you know podcasts have been around for like 20 years?
Yeah. I knew it'd been around a while, but I'm trying to think back. Do you remember the first podcast you ever remember?
No, and this is funny because I don't really listen to podcasts, even though we run one. But there's a couple I listen to. I love Stuff You Should Know. We've talked about that before. Those guys are really clever. But I remember working in the mall when I was young, and I was selling cell phones out of a kiosk in the middle of the mall, and this was like right around when the first
iPhone. Did you have the jewels on the Nokia plates? Like
yes, literally. Yeah,
okay. I figured it was. I knew it was you.
Do you remember when the first iPod came out? Not the iPhone, the iPod.
Oh yeah, I had one.
That was that early 2000s?
I honestly could not tell you.
It might have been like late 90s.
It might have been. It was before. I think it was before me and my wife were married, and we've been married 20 years this year. So we married in 2004. If it didn't come out before that, it was right around it.
Let's try this.
I know she had one of the first. She had the first edition
iPhone.
Yeah, but that was after.
Let me ask AI here. When did the first iPod come out?
But whenever Jason said it did.
2001. There it is. Damn. October 23rd, 2001. Yeah. But I remember I was working at a kiosk in the mall selling cell phones. You're recording, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
And some lady came up to me and she was just like, "Have you heard of podcasts?" And I was like, "The fuck is a podcast?"
No idea.
She explained it to me like this. She goes, well, it's where you record yourself doing whatever you want to do, and then you take that recording and you put it online so other people can listen to you. And I was like, who the hell would want to listen to anything that like you have to say, you know, generic lady. I'm sure she was very nice, but I was like, I don't want to listen to you. And she goes, no, that's the fun of it, because anybody can do whatever they want. And I was like, this is never going to go anywhere. Now, granted, it took 20 years, but now podcasts are like, that's the thing. You know?
I was looking it up. So I think the first podcast I ever listened to was KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio.
Right. That's a big local one.
It is big local. It's national, and they rate pretty well. But anyway, brainchild of Matt Jones, all about Kentucky sports. But honestly, if you listen to some of their best episodes, it's those summer episodes with him on it. You know, it's got to have him on it. But where they're talking about nonsense or talking about a food bracket, like a single bracket with food.
Yeah.
But that said, they opened KSR in 2005. So that was just a radio show. No, it was a blog and a podcast. So that's the first one I remember.
2005. Okay.
So I probably wasn't into it until probably 2006 or 7. But
right. And there had to have been lots before that, obviously.
It's just the first one I remember.
But I mean, like, I don't think it got really, it took off probably until like, what, 20... Was that so? Well, no, they've been around well since COVID. So it was probably like 15 or something.
I'd say 2012 to 14, 15, 12, somewhere around in there.
Yeah,
I remember when I was driving for work a lot, they'd have audio books. It was like a cassette almost, or a CD back then.
What's a cassette?
Exactly. So they would have podcasts that you could download, but they're 30 minutes long at tops, and, you know, just random topics. They weren't very good. Yeah. Audio was crap, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't even know how you would listen to them back in the day unless you had like LimeWire or something.
Exactly, right. Yeah.
I'm sure there was some platform. Honestly, Apple was probably doing it back then too, because they're like one of the big ones now. Anyway.
Oh, for sure. Everybody's got an iPhone with them, Matt. Everybody but you.
Everybody but me. Yeah. I'm the only person that doesn't, and I will never convert. I do have an iPad, and I will probably end up throwing it in the garbage because I don't use it, because I'm not an Apple product guy.
All right, so first podcast is in 2004, which is kind of crazy.
Okay, yeah, so that's early 2000s. So that's shortly after what
actually,
you were saying.
now it says 2003, so who knows?
Shortly before, okay.
But anyway, it's Radio Open Source by Christopher Linden.
Is it still around?
I don't know. Never heard of it.
That would be crazy if like the first podcast ever was still around.
I've never heard of that name.
Well, we have not been around nearly that long. We've been around for 4 years, and we've just been fucking around, honestly. But this is fun. I like to take it a little more serious. We've had really sporadic release schedule stuff, so we're gonna dial it in, and we're gonna have fun with this, and we're gonna do this real thing.
We got this
new logo. We got new content coming, and today we thought it'd be cool. I love going into the stories, the backstories, the culture, if you will, on a lot of these products that we bring in. We usually do like a lot of like hard to get and rare items, but just the stories of them and the backstories and the history is fun, especially when they come from like regions that we haven't explored. This right here is this
was from the region of Texas.
The region of Texas, yeah. But it's got
chaos.
And I thought that was kind of weird. So this is the first ever, from what I understand, Hefeweizen whiskey, okay?
Which is crazy, right?
It is crazy. Yeah. It's so weird. So Hefeweizen is a style of beer that dates back hundreds of years.
Right? We talked about that.
And it's called BAHNBRÄCKER, Slow River Blend. And I guess we'll get into that, but like what do you think prompted somebody from Texas to like blend, the whiskey with?
It is an odd story. So this BAHNBRÄCKER is called the Spirit of New Braunfels. I think that's how you pronounce it.
That sounds German.
It's a town in Texas.
Okay.
And so it was created by Randy Rogers and friends. Now, do you know who Randy Rogers is?
I do know that he is a musician because I looked it up on the website.
I was thinking like Kenny Rogers and Randy Travis mix, like country music star. I don't know. But Randy Rogers Band, their country band, I've never heard of, and I listen to some country.
Okay.
They have 572,000 monthly listens on Spotify.
Really?
They have 3 songs over 35 million listens.
Oh, gosh.
I listened to them, never heard it. Never heard it on the radio,
legit,
never heard it. So I guess he's legit in Texas. Well, so why he did it, I'm going to guess for money. And then he probably had a creative force behind him saying, let's make Hefeweizen.
Exactly right. Why do most of them do it?
But if you think Hefeweizen, if you think what's the best Hefeweizen you've ever had, do you know what would come to your mind? I know what comes to mind.
So I'm actually biased because I did a little back history here, and I'm gonna go Schneiderweiss.
I'm gonna go Live Oak. That's out of Texas.
Yes. Now that's a
so
newer
maybe
brand.
it is, but maybe it's something he had.
That's
like,
very true.
I like whiskey too. Why don't we?
And that's actually a good point. Yeah, I didn't even
I know
think
it's a
about
good
that.
point.
But like, let's take it back a little bit further.
Let's do it.
The Hefeweizen, this type of beer has been around.
As you're talking, I'm gonna open.
Yeah. Please do. Has been around since
I've got a Hefeweizen beer. I'm gonna pour after we drink this.
Let's
one.
do both at the same time.
Well, you keep talking, and we'll drink your beer.
Do I need to chug the beer that's in my glass already?
Probably should.
This one's actually pretty strong. We're still coming off of our IPA kick from an episode that you'll never see because it got trashed. But
it went to New England.
Yeah, but Hefeweizen actually literally translates into yeast wheat in German, and is typically a very cloudy beer just because there is yeast suspended in there. But yeah, it dates back to the late Middle Ages, between 1300 and 1500 AD. And it stems from the Bavaria region of Germany. Do you know where Bavaria is in Germany?
Yeah, it's right next to,
It is right next to, Germany, over in the...
I like Bavarian cream pies or something they're called. I don't know.
Is that a thing?
I think so.
I was thinking like oatmeal cream pies.
Those two.
So I'm trying to talk and then chug this at the same time, but what I'm going to do... Oh, you brought is it Ainger or Einger?
I would call it Ainger, but I'm also from the country.
Yeah,
maybe it's Ainger.
Yeah, Jason brought us an authentic Bavarian Hefeweizen.
It also kind of matches the color of that label.
It kind of does, yeah. And if you're tuning in on YouTube, you can see these labels. Yeah. They're pretty cool. But Hefeweizen was actually originally made in monasteries when it was.
Okay.
It was kind of
monks.
Exactly right. Yeah, you think of like Trappist ales and stuff like that. Same kind of idea. It was like a specialty beverage that was made for like monks back then. It started to become more regulated in the 16th century. They required it to have a minimum of 51% wheat malt, and then the rest could be barley. Beer basically being barley malt, and then yeast, hops, and the water, obviously. But when it started to be more regulated, Hefeweizen beer was strictly limited to being brewed by royalty. I did not know that.
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's just like, you had to be like affiliated with a royal family or something if you wanted to brew Hefeweizen. But it started to rise in popularity in the 19th century when they decided to open it up and let anybody brew it, which is kind of weird. Like, how do you just stop somebody from brewing beer? Especially
back then, you probably just chopped their head off. You caught them with it,
guess, but I mean, it's just like
I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones and stuff.
Yeah, dude, I'm actually started Game of Thrones again.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, I'm watching
House of the Dragon. Yeah. So I'm watching House of the Dragon, and like it's actually a really good show. Season 2 is a lot better than season 1, in my opinion. Season 1 was like all political, but I was like, I keep watching. I was like, you know what's even better than season 2 is Game of Thrones.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm just like started through, and I'm like at the end of season 2 of Game of Thrones.
Well, our TikTok algogram is showing me all kinds of Game of Thrones.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it's when you
fault.
watch it. I think you just I think it's just when you watch it on TV. It's like
it's possible.
Yeah, it's probably listening to that shit.
Well, and they're I'm sure like they're HBO Max is feeding them like.
Oh, that's right. I'm on your HBO.
You are
allegedly. We won't say they're sharing that. No.
Anyways, Game of Thrones is awesome, but it's it's opened up to the common people in the 19th century. So it started to become popular mainly thanks. That was a nice pop. To the efforts of George Schneider. His name is spelled Georg. Do you think it's George or Georg?
I would say it's George, but it might be like an English or like a Old English.
Well, it's definitely British or a German, but
Old German.
I don't know. It's just like without the E, I like to be like Georg. I think we're gonna go with Georg Schneider. But George Schneider was actually the founder of Schneiderweiss, and that's why I brought that up when we were talking about your favorite Hefeweizen, which they do make some really good beer. They're still brewing today, and they've been around for a long time too. The beer style kind of like fell off in the 20th century, but came back in the late 20th century because of renewed interest in craft beer and like more traditional styles. Honestly.
So I know Blue Moon's a wheat beer. Is it kind of a Hefeweizen? I mean, I don't know
if
because they kind of serve it with like an orange, right? I know some of the Hefeweizen, which is maybe not traditional or what they want to do, but they serve with lemon.
Does Blue Moon have orange in it? Is it brewed with orange, and then they put an orange garnish on? I think it might
have a little orange in there. I remember like Hoegaarden, they would put a lime or a lemon on that one.
Right.
I remember that.
Right.
I think that is a...
Yeah. I want to say that it's not a Hefeweizen because I think it maybe have some... Now, if you're going to...
It probably doesn't go that 51%.
Right. If you're going by the strict criteria here, yeah, I think it's not. Plus, it's brewed by AB and Vev. No, that's actually Miller Coors.
So, well, yeah, but so when they first started, though, when you're in Colorado, you can actually see the first Blue Moon, like, bar or whatever it is. Very popular, and then still, I mean, you see it a lot in stores, right? I mean, there's a lot of
it sells very well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna mix this Hefeweizen with my IPA. I'm sure that's.
I'm anxious.
Great.
We've poured both, so those not watching, we've got a Hefeweizen from Ayinger, and then we have this Slow River blend, the Hefeweizen whiskey from BAHNBRÄCKER.
Yeah.
Very interested nose on the two.
Yeah.
The Ayinger one smells traditional. I mean, it's like a Hefeweizen to me. The bourbon, the whiskey, not a bourbon. The whiskey, little different. I'll let Matt try that one here in a minute.
I'm gonna give it a little snifferoo.
So from this one, I'll switch back over to the bourbon or the whiskey if you don't mind, Matt. So this is a blend of straight wheat whiskeys, lightly macerated with lemon peel and clove. Now that term right there seems odd, right? So if you say a wheat whiskey is lightly macerated, I don't know that you can macerate whiskey. I think they miswrote that on the website. Right?
I suppose.
Because macerate is like mashed.
Yeah,
like,
I guess you could macerate the grain because there is a hole on the grain, on the wheat grain. So it could have to do with them, like the milling process. I guess.
It is like I think it's a non-chill filter. I'm assuming maybe that's what it is. Because Hefeweizen itself is unfiltered, right?
Yes, very much so. Yeah. Exactly right. So it could
So this has lemon peel and clove, which should accent the flavors of a Hefeweizen. It comes in at 80 proof. It's a blend of 3 to 5 year old wheat whiskeys, and they have only natural flavors. They made a big point of that. Like, there's not a concentrate, there's not this, there's not that. So this is natural flavors. So really lemon peel and clove.
So what did they add beyond? Tell me again, beyond the wheat. As part of the
this is not. So if you look at a bourbon, right? This is not a bourbon. This is a whiskey. Yeah. So this is a traditional. This is a wheat whiskey. So it's made with just wheat.
Right.
I mean, to my understanding, it's all wheat. If you have like a wheat with Bernheim is a wheat.
Okay.
You know, it's a wheater. So if you look at Weller Special Reserve or Pappy, that is a wheated bourbon, right? But this one here is a wheated whiskey. Like, this is just straight wheat. There's no...
But they didn't add any other adjuncts to this?
No. Lemon peel and clove, which was macerated.
So they did add the lemon peel and clove.
That's it. Okay. To get the Hefeweizen,
right. And then that is a staple of the Hefeweizen beer flavor profile is you get like banana and clove and some like lemon zest. So I guess they were trying to achieve that by just adding the actual product in.
Makes sense.
Which is, I guess that's what you're going for.
I mean, if you were going to make a whiskey to smell like it, it's probably the way to go.
Exactly right. And I've been kind of sipping on the Ayinger, the Hefeweizen, which is nice. I love a good Hefe when you're in the mood for it.
I'll be honest with you, though. I never go for it, right? No, it's just hard to go for that one.
Well, it's funny. It's like I'm drinking it now. I'm like, man, this is really good. So now you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the liquor store. I'm going to buy like a 6-pack of this stuff.
Yeah, you are.
But, I mean, I don't think about it just because there's
I get a referral fee from that.
Do you really? Mm-hmm. I'll pay you in a pour of whatever beer I get.
Appreciate that. So the beer itself, the Ayinger, however the hell you want to say it, it's pretty good. I mean, traditional Hefeweizen.
I think it's great, yeah.
I can't complain. I have no idea what the date is, probably 3 years old, but tastes great. I mean, I wouldn't complain at all. Looking online, this is one of the higher rated ones that I would see on Untapped, which is what we usually use for that.
What do you think of the whiskey?
Well, the nose brings back a familiar nose to me. It does not Hefeweizen. Are you getting anything from it?
Yeah, heartburn.
I think I'm getting like a Malort almost. There's something there. I don't know. I do not get Hefeweizen.
No, it's okay. So I took a sip. It is
almost like Jaeger. It's like a Jaeger mixed with Malort.
Now, you're talking about on the nose or on the
nose? I've not tried it yet.
In your mouth.
Not tried that on my mouth yet. I'm getting ready to.
It's very different. So on the nose, it smells strong.
Yes, smells very strong.
It does not. Does not taste nearly as strong. It's only 80 proof.
80 proof.
But
most of those, like, I want to say Jaeger and them's 80 proof or yonder. So
the amount, I'm guessing, did it show you the percentage of wheat they put in this? Is it 100% wheat?
Yeah, it's all wheat.
That's coming across a little strange. I've never had a 100% wheat whiskey. And
I think it's 100% wheat. Hell, I didn't do that kind of. I mean, their website is more of. It's a nice website,
right?
First off, it's a nice website, and the price on this is very reasonable.
Right.
But it's not meant for the whiskey nerd.
No,
you could tell that,
and I'm freaking okay with that. You know, because there's too many out there for the whiskey.
I agree with that. I get tired sometimes of hearing like, it's this Rick House, it's this run, it's this, it's that. And there's a place for that. It's probably just not me. Like, right. I want to know, is it good? Is it worth it? That's kind of where I'm at with it.
See, I'm okay with it. So I'm tasting it, and it's like...
It's much better taste than smell.
Yes, it is, 100%. The smell it's borderline accurate, honestly. But as soon as I taste it... Yeah, kind of. But as soon as I taste it, I thought it was corn at the beginning. Like, it was almost reminiscent of, like, a white dog, where it's just, like, real corn heavy. But it's, like, immediately just kind of, like, led into something different that I've not had. And I'm assuming that is the heavy wheat.
Yeah, if you look at this, this is a blend of 3 to 5 year olds, and you look at Bernheim from Heaven Hill, a 7-year-old, I believe.
Right.
So that's your difference, double the age, and that itself even tastes young.
Yeah.
This one tastes young, but honestly, I'm not off put by it. I think I can see where they're going with this one.
Yeah.
I think it's similar to the notes of the Hefeweizen, as close as you can get with a whiskey.
Right. Yeah. If you just smell this, you'd be like, get this the fuck away from me. But like tasting it, it's not bad. Now,
I agree.
I wouldn't mind having a bottle of this around. Does it remind you of a Hefeweizen?
It wouldn't on the nose at all.
No.
But with the taste, when I go back and forth between the two, now it could be a little bit, the whiskey's kind of hit my palate, but
yeah,
I think it's similar. I see how it relates.
Yeah, I'm still getting a lot of that, like that corn familiar, I guess, what is wheat on there. It still kind of reminds me of corn, honestly.
It's young. Look how light that is. Like, honestly, it's a shade darker than the Hefeweizen. Like, it's barely a shade darker.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. But I think this is an interesting take on a product. I've never seen somebody try to cross a Hefeweizen with a whiskey. So, kudos to them for venturing out new, which I think is really cool.
And I think for the price point, this one's $39.99. So it's priced well, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, if I saw this in the store, I'd be like, fuck it, let's buy it.
Yeah.
If you can't get that here.
No, they'll ship to you, though.
Okay.
So shipped, it was $54.
Right.
So $40 MSRP through them.
Yeah.
$54 shipped, so $14 shipping. You can't beat that.
All right. Well,
and then they had a special of the day. 2 bottles. Any 2 bottles, you get free shipping, which tells me they're probably struggling a little bit.
How long has this been out?
I heard about this first from our friend Jordan. It's probably been a year ago that I heard about it, and then I was scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and saw an advertisement for it.
Yeah.
I was like, hell, I remember that. Let's try it. Let's get it.
No, I'm glad we got to try it. I probably wouldn't buy it again, but I would. Well, I would actually keep a bottle of this on hand just because it's interesting enough that it's a little different.
I'd be interested to see like what a traditionalist in beer or a home brewer that makes Hefeweizen would think of this. I don't know.
I'm not getting a lot of similarities to the Hefeweizen, honestly.
I'm getting enough. If I knew what it was, and side by side with the Hefeweizen, but no.
Well, let me tell you. I want to tell you something fun about.
I want to hear something fun.
Mr. Georg Schneider IV. He's in the lineage of Schneiders from Schneiderweiss. I thought this was really cool. Just kind of like doing some research on there. When at the end of World War II, brewery production in Bavaria was completely suspended. And I guess whatever reason, I didn't see exactly why. I don't know if it was Hitler or if it was the Allies when they actually came in and
Either way,
shut
it's
Hitler
not
down.
good.
Either way, it's not good. But yeah, nobody was making beer. But as soon as the Americans swept in and kind of like occupied and took over, they actually let Schneider, not Schneiderweiss,
Schneider
reopen
Schneider.
Because during the war he would not let Hitler come and deliver any political speeches at their brewery, and he never joined the Nazi party.
I want to say it did not go over well.
I'm surprised he lived through it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But because of that, the Americans were like, Okay, well, we appreciate you, not donating to the fascist efforts. So since you're like anti-fascist, then you can reopen. So Schneider Weiss and the person that, George Schneider that made Hefeweizen popular is decidedly anti-fascist. So every time you drink a Hefeweizen, you can be like,
cheers to that. I'm with
German
him.
beer is anti-fascist.
I'm with him.
That's pretty good, man. You got anything else on...
I don't, honestly. Like, this is kind of a weird one. I think the appeal here was just, I've never heard of anything like this. I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
If you look at other ones, I mean, we have beers that are bourbon barrel aged, but in this aspect, a lighter beer, you don't see it. Yeah. So I think it was worth trying.
I think it's a fun bottle. But you know what? I'm honestly glad we got to bring a Hefeweizen back in here because that was really good too.
I haven't had one in a long time.
Reintroduced. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening and watching. If you want more shenanigans from the Arsenic Culture crew, because we are Arsenic Culture.
We are.
Not Arsenic Culture. And if you don't know the difference, you need to look it up. It's ARSENIC. But yeah, you can check us out on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. We do have a YouTube where you can watch it.
We do.
But at Arsenic Culture.